Hey, this is Mark Menendez, professional angler here with you, and I've got a couple tips here about using your bait casting gear effectively. Bait casting I use about 80% of the time in my fishing, and spinning gear, whatever's left over. So a bait caster does most of my work. This is a Lew's Tournament MG casting reel that I'm using here. And there's a couple things you need to learn about casting reels. First, most of us when we go to make a cast, we will leave the reel in a horizontal position like that. You don't need to do that. Bait casting reels simply work better when you roll your wrist over and hold the reel in this position to make your cast. It's one of the things I learned in physics class years ago. It's a property called inertia. But by turning your reel sideways, your spool is spinning the same way the world is going around, and your line simply comes off better when you turn your wrist and make that cast. By leaving my hand this way and casting the reel in a horizontal position, all the physics of the world are fighting one another, and it ends up in the proverbial backlash. We don't want that. So, turn your wrist sideways when you make your cast. Now there's another cast that you can do with bait casting gear, and it's called a pitching cast. It's a technique where you're using soft plastics like this big Strike King worm or a jig, and you're just basically dropping the rod and allowing the bait to pendulum out towards your target. The key to this is always have your bait in front of your reel. If your bait is behind your reel, look how awkward it is, and I hit the side of the boat. Always get your bait reeled up in front of your reel, drop your rod, lift your rod up, your bait pendulums out towards your target. If you'll do those two things with bait casting gear, you'll be able to cast a country mile every time on your fishing trip.